do this. We are the Chad and Cheese Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joel Cheeseman. Joined as always, Chad Sowash is in the house, and we are privileged to be chatting with retired Lieutenant General Russell L. Honoré. General, welcome to HR's Most Dangerous Podcast.
We'll see.
Yes, we will. It's a very low bar in HR.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
danger.
all right.
Your level of danger is much different.
You know, there's a lot. Y'all have gone up a level when you can associate HR with being dangerous and humorous. That's normally not associated with HR.
They don't. Which is why we stick out.
Right, there you go.
So, being in the general, U.S. Army, there's a lot to do. You cover a lot of different bases. Today you talked a lot about HR because obviously you're in an HR kind of conference, but you felt at home in talking about all of those different things. And coming up through the military, how much did you actually have to deal with personnel, HR, those types of things?
Because the Army is about people.
Yeah?
They get paid minimum wage, that swear to hear and to support and defend the Constitution, that work for about $12 an hour, get deployed all around the world, get their ass shot at.
I know.
Have to move frequently. So the Army is about people.
Yeah?
It's about mission.
25 times, didn't you?
It's about mission.
Yeah?
It's about being on a damn team. So, yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable in this space. Not that I know what civilian HR do any more than what I picked up in my graduate courses, but it parallels, it deals with the issues of people, whereas a mission commander, it starts with the people and end with the people.
Yeah.
If you're going to get a mission accomplished. And the information that's coming to you from being with the troops, watching the troops, listening to your grapevine, you got your chaplain, you got your sergeant major, you got your NCOs. And then I've always practiced leading by walking around and asking the soldier, how's it going? Then shut your damn mouth and listen, or how you doing. Whereas I saw a lot of my contemporaries, how you doing? You doing good, right?
Yeah.
Well, they answer their own question.
Yeah.
They're not interested. They ask the question out
They're
of,
leading it in the witness.
right, how's the child? Good, right? As opposed to, how's the food?
Yeah.
How's your room? And listening. And you get a pretty good feel for what's going on in your unit, because if you listen, the troop will tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, we ask a lot for them to raise their right hand and support and defend the Constitution, and we're prepared to put them in jail if they don't do it.
Yeah.
But they do it willingly, at minimum wage, in the outdoors, all weather condition. So you better hell to know people if you're going to be an effective leader in the Army, and you better hell respect your people.
Yeah. Well, so one thing real quick. When you were your highest command, how many soldiers were under you at that point?
We were training and mobilizing 500,000 troops a year.
500,000 troops. Okay, so
over my 4 years,
okay,
it was every National Guard and Reserve unit that got mobilized or went through sustainment training. We did it in First Army. That was our mission.
Yeah.
And my ultimate mission was to respond to disasters like Katrina.
Right.
But my day job as First Army commander was preparing troops to mobilize and deploy.
So, as you say, going down to talk to the troops, I know, because I was one of those little E2, E3s, and the general come down and talk to us.
Yeah.
You think of it on the CEO side, because you're the CEO of that company at that point, right? As a brigade, battalion, brigade. That's scary, right? So you really don't want to say anything that's going to screw up your day, right? How did you get personable enough to get real with that soldier, knowing that you were the CEO and they are literally just entry level, maybe 2-3 years in? How did you make that personal connection? Because that's important.
Remember, you were young and inexperienced at one time too.
Yeah.
You know, And how can you connect with that soldier? One of the things I always say, where you from? What come out of your town? Football players, cowboys. Just a couple of leading questions to get to the soldier to talk about them. And you see some that will stay away from that because they don't want to tell you. They may be embarrassed that they came from a very poor or very humble. But most of them will tell you, mom, a single mom of 4 kids. I was the oldest one, and I decided to come in the Army so I could help her. And that's okay. I mean, I was poor, came from a family of 12. But I think that gives you an attribute. And I see in the latter kids compared to when you're poor, you learn how to fix shit.
Yes, you do.
So you learn how to adapt.
Uh-huh.
Like when I was growing up, we initially had 2 TVs, one with sound, one with a picture. And the youngest and the dumbest would hold the aluminum on the antenna so we could watch the Long Ranger.
Uh-huh.
You adapt and overcome. You walk in the room now and the kid will say, hey, we need a new TV. There's no picture. Shit, we watch TV all the time with no picture because you couldn't you just listen.
Yeah.
It's not like you couldn't figure out Long Ranger is about to pop somebody in the ass, I mean, you just listen.
Yeah.
You adapt because the story is still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's either that or listen to the crickets on the front porch. But we come from a generation, I come from the boomers, raised by the greatest generation who were raised by the silent generation.
Mm-hmm.
The silent generation was some hard son of bitches, boy.
Yeah.
They were born in the pandemic in World War I, survived that, survived the Depression, and fought World War II.
Obstacle after obstacle after obstacle.
So you don't tell the silent generation like, well, I think I need 2 tires. I need a whole set of tires for my car. They walk out there and say, boy, you need 1 goddamn tire is all you need. I mean, you don't need 4. You don't tell them, well, I had a flat tire, I need a new set. No, they say, hey, let's fix this. Just take that tire off, we're going to fix it. Same thing with the greatest generation. Would you walk up to a Gen Z and said, what's the problem? I need new tires. Why? Because I had a flat. Well, bullshit. I was raised by the greatest. Let's go fix the 1 tire, then we'll go from there. But it's a different how each generation adapted and the impact they've made on society.
Mm-hmm.
And as a boomer, the greatest generation, they didn't have much patience for you. Because what the hell are you complaining about?
Well, it feels like the boomers, we were raised by boomers, so it feels like that's kind of like my dad didn't have much patience.
No, we put a case of whoop ass on you. We'd put you in the back of the station wagon with no seatbelt on and smoke a goddamn cigar while we were driving down the road. We didn't give a shit. We drank too much, cursed too much.
Yeah.
And tell you to go take your ass outside and come back when it get dark.
Yeah.
Or when we turn the light on, you can come in. Go find something to do. Drink out of hose. Go find something. We ain't giving you no goddamn cold drink.
So you're clearly a fan of people, and you made a comment about automation that you're not such a fan. I think it was something around a robot can't make a good bowl of gumbo. What are your thoughts on automation and where the world is going with more automated tools and AI?
I think we got to adapt. The first 10 years ago, everybody was pissy as hell about the robot.
Uh-huh.
The robot taking the job. Well, the robot didn't take nobody's job. They made something better, and they made some things quicker, but we're still standing. There's a lot of, I could take you back a generation to tell you what technology. When you look at the Ninth Ward that was all destroyed during Katrina, all those poor houses, every 4 houses empty, At one time, the Ninth Ward was a middle-class neighborhood because it was longshoremen.
Okay.
They got paid well, but it was all break bulk freight then. Pallets, big bags. Then along came the container. When the container arrived, it destroyed the Ninth Ward. The guys lost their job.
Yeah.
That's a clear case where technology didn't bend it, it broke it.
It decimated the entire
And by
class.
the time Katrina came, all those guys had aged out, and the kids and grandkids owned their homes, and they couldn't take care of them properly.
Yeah.
Multiple heirs to the property. But when I was 12 years old, I went. It was a straight up middle class neighborhood. People had cars. They had a grocery store in every corner, a barber shop, and a deli and garage. It was a functional community. And by the time Katrina hit, it was 1 out of every 4 houses were abandoned, because when that economy transitioned and left them in the city of New Orleans, when they transitioned to port, they tried to go to a tourist economy. That's how we end up with the Superdome. That's how we end up with the convention center and had the World Fair, city fair thing here. When you go from a job, union job with benefits, to their kids being in the entertainment field, either playing music or working in hospitality, putting them drinks out, cooking.
More commercial.
Those are minimum few benefits.
Right.
And it changed the community. When you go from that as an example, when we modernize the ports, to go to containers where you can do the same thing all with machines, where you had 50 men, you might have 2 spotting the machine and the thing go about. We've done okay with that because it reduced the cost of ship and handling a product. And when the robot came up, there was a lot of discussion about how many people it was going to take. Well, I've been in automobile assembly line, still a lot of people out there working. But what they're doing now is they're doing all the sub-assembly breakdown, because that shit's arriving in America already made, but it got to be unpacked. So where you lost people at $25 an hour, you got 5 working at $18 an hour. Less skilled, but then you got to save the packing and send it back because it's not cost effective if they don't use it again. So the robot's doing the tap, 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 but to get that robot to do that, all that stuff has got to be in place for multiple countries and multiple packaging. Some of it's plastic, some of it's cardboard, some of it's all kind of stuff. And all that has to be put back in the container and sent back to make the business profitable. So we go now to AI, which is more of a knowledge-based thing. And I don't pretend to be an expert on it, but basically it's just a collection of word salad of information. And it's a pretty damn good job. You know, if you went into CP chat and said, tell me about this chat group, this HR chat box, it'll put some shit out about you.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And all it's done is done a collection of adjective, verbs, and pronouns.
And it's made contextual sense out of it. So you sit on boards, correct me if I'm wrong, boards of companies, and you obviously advise CEOs and boards and whatnot. So what are you seeing out there now with the landscape? Obviously the election's coming and a lot of people are waiting, and they're kind of on pins and needles to see what the hell happens. But beyond that, what do you see in the landscape when it comes to business? Is it as robust as we're being told?
The stock market is just continuing to grow.
Yeah.
Add value to investors. It's only done in a pretty secure environment, when people feel pretty secure about investing in it. and continue to bring value. I think some of during COVID, we went through this with all the essential workers, and what happened when they did show up? Let's see, food chain.
Uh-huh.
It was always screw them. We'll pay them $12. What happened when they don't show up, bro?
And we saw what happened. Supply chain got busted.
You see all over town now, you see food chains that pay you $17 an hour to go flip burgers. I think what it is, it takes you 22 to break even.
Yeah.
In the economy.
Yeah, depending on where you're at.
And then that's even short, yeah.
Yeah.
So you go, I went to Popeye last night and bought a cup of dirty rice, what they call Cajun, $6. That's ridiculous. You can buy a whole chicken for $6.
Uh-huh.
And this is just rice with chicken livers in it.
Popeyes is good, but it's not that good.
It's not that good. So they have said, well, we're going to pay our workers more and we're going to pass the price on. And that's fair enough. But the price of fast food, and it's starting to bite them, it don't make sense for people to pay $8 a night. There's people like me that remember when the hamburger was 50 cents.
Yeah.
Now we're paying $3 for a plain hamburger at McDonald's?
If you're lucky.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's not correlating.
Yeah. That's what happens.
And people are starting to back off from them.
Yeah, when we have a McDonald's
So,
on every corner.
You look at the big wall or the big drugstores.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They're closing them summits left and right. You say, but when they were building all of them, did it make sense to put them a mile apart?
Yeah.
But you go back and you figure out them summits was grabbing real estate.
Uh-huh.
They were grabbing real estate. They bought out the competition in some cases. All they were doing was grabbing real estate. And now they sit on prime corners in every small, now I saw the other day they're going to close 1,000 stores. They're cashing out on real estate, moving that product to, they have 4 stores in the town, they'll go to 2. Sell the real estate. Yep. So it's a part of the market I don't understand. But back to AI, I'm not afraid of it. I wish I knew more about it. But as with all emerging technologies, humans adapt to them. It's like, there's a story we used to tell about change of the guy who made buggy whips. Made the best buggy whips and carriages in New York and England. People would order them from all over the country. Then Henry Ford come out with the goddamn car. And they say, Sir Charles, you need to adjust your process on how many buggies and buggies you continue to make. He was a tycoon. They had to take up money to bury him because he wouldn't change. He kept building them. They had to take up money in the family to bury him.
But we've always been taught, and I heard different today, that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we're in a different age.
If it ain't broke, you got to fix it. You got to break it.
Yeah, you got to break it, right? If it ain't broke, break it.
Break it.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep up with change.
Uh-huh.
You can't act like people are not sensitive to what they get paid and their benefits. And you got some companies are real asshole. They're pushing people out in their 50s because that's when women get sick. All of a sudden, hey, we zeroing your position out. She's subject to breast cancer and that's the kind of stuff that scares me what AI might pull up, is people that might have some comorbidities, because they go after women like that now. They just eliminate their position, because that drags out the cost that they got to co-pay. Yeah. In your non-union soft skill jobs, like education, medical, and that's the piece that scared me, where they could use AI and screen out, by the time this employee gets 60, they need to be gone because of some of their comorbidities. Or by the time they get 45, and the way we do it, we eliminate the job.
research.
I've always been fascinated. I'll let you out on this. Recruiting is hard. Recruiting for a job that you might die is particularly
Especially the
hard.
Army. Yeah.
What is the military secret sauce to recruit young men to come work for them?
The greatest story we had is connecting with a young person who uncle, father, brother, mom was in the military. They're already sold by the time we get them. The majority of our recruits come from somebody was in the family was in the military.
This guy.
So the thing, though, is that the Army has been missing their recruiting targets, right? So that's how we used to do things, right? And we need to break it. How do we break it? That's the hard part.
You know what the standard was for World War II to be in the Army?
Probably not much of one.
You had to have 12 fucking teeth. And them subjects won a world war.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That was it. 12 teeth.
You didn't have to read to be able to see, but your dental plan is you had to have at least 12 teeth.
And today, it's like
You got to have high school diploma, pass a GP, and no fat on your ass. You got to be able to run and do so many push-ups. And I said for years, the Army builds soldiers.
yes.
So you give me a kid that's overweight, no problem.
I'll knock 40 pounds off his ass.
We'll deal with that.
Yeah.
But they weren't taking them because they were overweight or they couldn't do
Yeah.
50 push-ups.
Uh-huh. So we
That's
we're-
not, we
we're being
teach
too
that.
selective, is what you're saying. There's no
Well, we had
reason.
our head up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the economy was bad. We couldn't. Then COVID hit. People retracted. Kids graduate on Zoom and shit. You know, they lost that connection. The recruiters lost some contact. They stopped listening to Grandpa's story. All that kind of made a dip. All that made a dip. And I said, hey, we build soldiers. If they got a willing mind, we'll take them, we'll work with them. What kind of kid gonna sign up to you and said, I'm gonna submit to you in pre-basic training with the promise if I make it to it, I'm gonna allow you to put me in 22 more weeks of hell without a phone, without my girlfriend, without my wife, without my car.
Yeah. Well, it is.
I want that son bitch.
Oh yeah, it is one, I think the best public service program we have in the United States today, because we take a bunch of these kids. I was one of them. 18 years old, 6 days out of high school. I was at base training.
Well, we're still doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you smoke marijuana? You can't come out. Get out of here, man. We had to go to generation and drink a quart of whiskey every night. And you gonna tell this kid if you smoke marijuana, he can't come in the fucking army? Fuck you.
Yeah.
And they're starting to, oh, well, can we get 3 urinalysis tests to make sure he's not still yet? Half of the Congress smoke weed
Yeah.
and still smoke it.
Yeah. Common sense approach.
But you tell the kid, hey, oh, you admitted to smoking weed. Oh, we can't have you in the army.
Yeah.
When you talk about recruiting, you talk about retention, you're talking about, we got to evolve. In World War II, we took them as we got them. We got to take them as we got them. These kids have been through a lot. They survived COVID. They've been through up and down the economy. They've seen, we lose 20 a day to suicide. And we still ain't solved that problem.
No.
We miss the nonverbal cry for help.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this guy yelling and screaming at everybody? This is not him or her normal behavior. What's going on here? We don't pick up on it. We don't pick up on it, and we fail to act on it.
We got to care. And that's where going all the way back to that first question. is you're a people person, and that's where you are focused in on. So these things obviously make sense to somebody like you, but a lot of people who only care quarter to quarter, profits to profits, they're not focusing on the people. They're just trying to focus on the profits.
Well, that's their own fault. That's their own shortness. And organization that spend more time on process and on procedure than people will fall short.
Well, General, it was a privilege to sit down with you today. Thank you for your service. That was retired Lieutenant General Russell Honoré. Chad, that's another one in the can. We out.